Hello everyone, it is Jacob with part 5 of the Hero to Zero or Zero to Hero series. If you are still playing Mind Control and struggling with getting it to like higher tier maps, Mind Control requires a really high investment to get to over 8.2s. But if you would like to swap to something really cheap, this will be the build for you, I believe. As you can see, the main skill here would be the Shadow Swamp, and everything else is supporting that skill or survivability or spreading elements. So, and get to Profound, it will cost you around 5 to 800 FEs, depending on what Pact Spirits do you have and how many upgraded items will you require. So higher Pact Spirits will require less investment. But yeah, under 800 FE is definitely doable. You can start doing Profound, or you can complete Profound maps and Profound Watchers at around 30 billion DPS, which is really easy to achieve. It is not damage to farm Profound, but it will let you complete Profound maps and Profound Watchers to get the star chart points to make your farming strategies more efficient in 8.0s or 8.1s, 8.2s. I personally am farming in 8.1s because I'm playing Outlaw, and that requires you to kill monsters really fast. But if I would play any other strategy that is not timed, I would be able to farm it on Profound at this point, where I'm doing around 80 billion DPS. Yeah, this was 8.1 map. I will show you a Profound Watcher with a few swaps which are not necessary, but just to make it a little bit faster. I will swap a pedigree here, and that's it, pretty much it. I'm not making it like swapping multiple items, not really necessary for Profound Watchers here. So should die fairly fast. Just avoid max, don't get hit. The build really struggles with survivability, but at this like investment level, every build will. So the survivability will come with higher investment later on. But as you can see, it is capable of killing Profound Watcher. I already killed 3, this is my 4th one, and I have to still farm for the Void Land one, and then I will be done with maps pretty much, until I reach Deep Space. But yeah, you have 6 lives, so doesn't really matter much that you die, you're just here to get the star chart point, so you can farm currency faster. So let's finish this. Where is he? Here. Why is he not getting damaged? I hated this boss, but I will kill it. So it will eventually die. This minigame again. Yeah, okay, that was a long fight, but I did it, so that's another Profound Watcher done. Now let's go through the build. There's a lot to explain. I will try to explain everything in depth because there are multiple things working with each other. So yeah, let's go through it. To start running the build, you will need this helmet, preferably with max Terra charges corrupted. Let's go in for around 30 FEs, so nothing crazy. Then if you want to go really cheap and you do not mind like dying here and there, or very often actually, this is really cheap armor that you can go for. Doesn't need any corruption. Basically gives you extra Terra charge stack and gives you charge restoration speed, so you can spam the Shadow Swamp more often. But for more survivability, I'm running Twilight Vestment, because every time you reap, you start regenerating your energy shield, and it also has a little bit more energy shield than the other armor, even with a different corrupt here. So my defensive one with extra energy shield would go for around 10 FEs, and the +2 skills one would go for around 30 as well, so another affordable item. Then still the same gloves as I had in the past build. I just bought ones with the cooldown recovery corruption, but if you would go without that, they cost like 5 FEs. Same boots, like 1 FE item. Then this amulet, just get some with... Oh yeah, a really important thing with the amulet, if you can run 2 curses, so you either have to have this verbal abuse on your pedigree, or you need to have this Pact Spirit. So if you rolled for this Pact Spirit, you can run 2 curses, and then your option to go for would be this amulet with high level corruption curse. If you do not have access to double curse, then simply get False God skin with double intelligence and double damage, which would go for around 200 FEs. So it's not that cheap, but it is farmable fairly quickly. Or you can go for any like crafted amulet, or get this Ocean Silk and swap the curse to some other support skill, which I will explain in the skill section later on. So it's for the amulet, either False God Skin or Illusory Ocean Silk Unreal with high level corruption curse. For the belt, budget option would be Pelmis Embrace, because it gives you skill area. But if you would be willing to spend a little bit more, then intelligence base Dawnbreak with 2% here goes for around 250 FEs, 300 FEs. If you would go for a corruption here, you would pay around 600. So yeah, higher budget item, but for 250 it gives you a damage multiplier. So yeah, that's a go-to belt, which will last you for pretty much the rest of the season, unless you would be willing to swap for Eternity. For clear, I'm using this. I should have swapped this for the Watcher, but for clear I'm using Restless Glacier, which I'm freezing monsters, and this one basically gives me extra explode. So I'm using that one. If you are going for bosses, just have a second ring, which you can swap to, which I forgot. So yeah, like that. And the ring, intelligence, max energy shield, double resistant trip duration. You have to get some resistances somewhere, and the ring pretty much is the only place where you can get some. So yeah, maybe even triple resistance wouldn't be a bad play here. But I just want to have more damage to farm Outlaw a little bit more efficiently. And then tier 1 weapons. Damage over time, Reap Reap in duration and affliction. The base rolls, reap in duration, affliction. Then erosion skill or intelligence. I have intelligence on this one, and I have erosion skill on this one. So either or, doesn't matter, both give you pretty much the same damage. And then if you would need more survivability and are willing to sacrifice damage, instead of damage over time, you can go for energy shield, which would give you like 500 extra energy shield on each wand. So that is a lot of survivability. But for maximum damage over time, it would be the last roll here. Okay, that's for the gear. For Pact Spirits, as I explained with the amulet, for double curse you want to have Poisoned Omen. If you do not have Poisoned Omen, then simply put in some other damage over time Pact Spirit. I went through damage over time Pact Spirits in the last video, even the blue ones and purple ones, so check that there. This one would be my go-to if I would want to swap the Omen out. I would go with Fire Swordsman. The purple and blue ones work as well, I showed that in the last video. What you can do with Pact Spirits though, you can slot in micro fates and medium fates for reaping duration, and you want to put these over the nodes that grant you like damage. For example, this original effect gives you 10% damage, this one gives you 20% damage. The reaping duration will always be higher multiplier than any sort of damage you can get from these, so replace these on Omen, the damage ones. Then there are these on the King, damage over time, replace those for reaping duration. And on the Fallen Saintess there are these erosion damage nodes, which are worth replacing as well. You can have 9 micro destinies and 4 medium destinies, really cheap upgrades that can net you a lot of damage for pretty much like 200 FEs, maybe even cheaper. I'm not sure how much they cost now. So yeah, on the Fallen King, on the Fallen Knight, Fire Swordsman, there are these chance to cause elements nodes. You have guaranteed elements, so these are useless to you completely, so just swap them for reaping. And then there are these damage over time nodes as well. So if you have all 4 of these and you only want to run 1 curse, what I would do is I would put whatever here, and I would put the Fire Swordsman to the first slot. Because I already have my fates in, I would put Fire Swordsman on this slot. Where is he? From Pact. Now he is on the left, on the top left, and all the like useless nodes are replaced. So that's how you can like swap them around without having to swap the fate around as well, because that would cost you currency. So yeah, that's a quick example of how to use Pact Spirits and fates. I will not go any deeper here. So yeah, that was the Pact Spirit section. For skills, Shadow Swamp, you want to get Stillwater as soon as possible, preferably before you go into swap to this. Get like tier 1, any tier 1 gem here, which are for around 30 FEs. Why tier 1? When you are starting, you don't have currency to buy like the top roll, like 11%, let's say. Would go for 300, and the 12% one would go for 8. So just buy any tier 1 just to get the build going. and you will use this tier 1 to start the tier 0 one eventually once you get it. So yeah, tier 1 on Stillwater, that will let you use your Shadow Swamp to attach to you, and then it will like float with you around like this. So as for that, the other support also just get one that will be tier 1, and you can get it running really cheap. Activation medium instruction, get one that has high like percentage on this one and higher percentage on this bottom one as well. When the trigger does not matter that much, you will just cast it less often, so it will like explode less often. But the main thing here is to cast it fast enough for it to be able to recharge the charges. So I will run around here like this. As you can see, my 4 charges get recharged before it gets triggered again. So around the 1.7 seconds is enough for 4 charges. So that is that. If you go lower, it will explode more often, so you will maybe whatever freeze monsters more often, but this roll doesn't really matter that much. The swamp lasts for around 6 seconds, so yeah, just get as high damage as possible, and you will also be able to stack more instructions through another skill. So it is this support, and if you would go for this one with like maybe tier 1, around 60 FEs, that's nothing crazy. If you cannot afford it yet, just use like increased area or control spell in here. So that's for this skill. Movement skill, Frigid Transmission, Magic Dash and Reaping Agony are the core ones. And then this one is a flex slot. I'm running Dirty Tricks, which is guaranteeing me to hit elements with every hit. And Trauma is an element, and for every element I'm doing extra damage. So this is the skill that provides trauma on monsters for me to deal extra damage. Then Black Hole with activation medium, whatever, root or start, whichever is cheaper, cooldown reduction and Reaping Agony. Then Curse with start, Terrain of Malice and extended duration or cooldown recovery, doesn't really matter which one. And then on the Ring of Blades, you want to get activation medium channel, and you want to get this tier 0 preferably for the one stack per instruction, or one instruction per one channel stack. So yeah, preferably this with one. Then guard, extra defense layer, really need it, will help you survive some hits. So yeah, that's there. Reaping Agony. And then this skill provides the build with Ignite on monsters, which is fire damage element. I will get over the Ignite later on in the passive skill tree as well. So keep that in mind. This one provides you with Ignite, basically. And this. If you would want to get a lot of damage on bosses, you can swap Ring of Blades into what is the skill called? Path of Flames. Yeah, Path of Flames. And instead of any of these skills, you would put in this, which would provide you with another like 20+% additional damage multiplier. So yeah, that's for a lot more damage on single target bosses. But the build focuses on clearing maps for now, so you're not killing bosses here. You just kill whatever boss conquest you need to upgrade your oasis, and then the rest does not really matter. It's just quality of life mapper, really, to help you farm for the next build or next upgrade really quickly with not much button pressing. Auras, domain expansion. If you have the energy, you need at least 515, then you can slot in precise malleable for extra effect when near rare monsters like elites or bosses. Normal monsters will die quickly, so auras do not really matter, but on rares this extra aura effect helps killing them faster, so that would be the last link. If you have the energy for it, go for it. You will need a little bit more sealed mana compensation in the passive tree, but I will go over that as well. So domain expansion with this setup, then erosion amplification, the same setup, and the aura that I am running on life would be deep pain with these links, and as last I'm running corrosion focus for now with restrain, but once I get enough FEs to afford this thing, corrosion focus, this one with some decent draw like 11%. Oh, well, here. Oh my god, how do I put it in? Okay. Yeah, like 10% plus for 800 FEs. So yeah, once I get enough to afford this, what I will need to do with the current build that I have now is I would put it here. I would put focus acceleration here instead of the restraint, and I would need to put one more point into seal compensation in my skill tree. But for now I do not have that link, so I can use restrain and use the one skill point elsewhere. So once I get that link, I will either have to level one level up or just swap one skill point somewhere. But yeah, this is the corrosion focus, provides you with additional erosion damage, also provides you with extra reap whenever it hits. It is hit very often. So yeah, that is that. And now for the passive tree, Goddess of Deception, Affliction, and Deceiver's Might. Deceiver's Might might seem weird, but even if you only have the 2 stacks, it is around 40% additional damage just from the 2 stacks, and around 60% when you get all 3. That's a no-brainer. Just get that one. The tree is still the same as in the last video. Psychic. For mapping, you go Windwalk. For bosses, you go more with less, because Windwalk only lasts for 4 seconds, while more with less is up for the entirety of the fight. And the tree looks like this. On Thea 3, you do not really need at this point, so just take it and put it somewhere else if you have it in. The next tree is Lich. I'm running off the beaten track here to be able to run all my auras. And then I'm focusing on defense, so energy shield everywhere I can take it. And in this tree you have the seal compensation nodes, so once I get the corrosion focus support, I would have to take 1 point somewhere and put it here. So yeah, and then I'm using this prism, and this prism gives me 25% erosion resistance penetration when inflicting enemies with ignite. So that's what my Ring of Blade does with the added fire damage. So whenever I hop, whenever I jump into monsters, You can see it is affected with Ignite here. Means I do the 25% penetration through this prism. And I'm putting it here because you want to get this +1 all skills, but all these points that are before that are useless, and that's 6 points that you can use somewhere else. There's the damage node here, and then instead of the prism there is a cast speed node, which is useless to this build as well. So that's 6 points you can put somewhere else. I've put them here, and I took the shield compensation as well instead of that. And then I have the aura effect and reap duration on it. Just get whatever useful thing you can get to the legendary medium talent as well. So that's for the prism and lich tree. And the last tree is a warlock tree. I'm running dirty tricks here, so you get 6% additional damage for every element on the enemy. And I'm pretty much inflicting all elements: trauma, ignite, frostbite, freeze as well, numbed and wilt. Yeah, I'm inflicting all of them, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 32% additional damage, and when the enemy gets frozen, it's a little bit more there as well. And the tree looks like this. Getting paralyzed from this node, getting additional damage to cursed enemies, and then affliction, yeah, whatever puts you to 24. For slates, since you are swapping out from where's the overview? Since you are swapping out from Elementalist, which was providing you with this node, to fire, lightning, and cold damage, you need to get this micro talent on your slates to be able to chill and shock enemies as the cold and lightning damage. So yeah, you need to get this on your slates to be able to numb enemies, because you can still chill and freeze enemies with your freeze transmission, but you would not be able to put numb on enemies through lightning damage. So I'm getting the node on this Fallen Starlight. These Fallen Starlights with Reap are not even on the trait. So do not worry, just get Fallen Starlights with Reaps. Those are going for around 20 FEs. Get 3 of them, like this. And then you can roll the triple elemental damage node on the Goddess of Knowledge Divinity Slate if you only put like blue mod on here, and you can reroll the blue mod over and over until you hit your elemental damage, basically. Or you can buy Fallen Starlight with that mod and sacrifice 1 reap for it. That's also a play. Just get it somewhere on the slates as the core that will allow you to freeze everything and shock everything. So yeah. Then on the corner I have max focus blessing and something useful. On this green slate I have agility blessing and spell aggression. That's not cheap. So if you would have to choose one, go for the agility blessing and get the spell aggression on something else, or vice versa. Get the spell aggression here and then put the max agility blessing or on another corner or somewhere else. Basically try to get blessings wherever possible, and then if you have a free slot, or if you find an affordable Fallen Starlight or a corner, try to get the spell aggression as well. Then I have Goddess of Knowledge Divinity with Frail on spell hit. That's another additional multiplier, and it should be cheap to get one with skill area. Yeah. So if you can get more skill area, will help you a lot with the gameplay. But not necessary. Just get the Frail and then get whatever useful things you can. I did not reroll this. That's what I got there. Then for the pedigree, for mapping, you want the pedigree with Frostbitten. which will allow you to freeze monsters and reset the cooldown on your frigid transmission. Helps with mapping like a lot. You can just teleport through the entire map if you go lower difficulty, and you will just be from one side of the map on the other in like a minute with full clear. So yeah, it's really nice movement tech. But if you need more damage and you are willing to sacrifice the mobility, just get a pedigree with full load, which would go for around 100 FEs. And if you can get something useful to it as well, like determined here, those are going for a little bit more, but there's a bunch of useful nodes that you can get there with the full load as well. I believe I have a filter set somewhere. I will try to show it briefly, just so you have an idea. So the filter would be here. So you would just put full load here, because that's the most you can get, pretty much guaranteed damage, 40%. And then you want to get whatever one from these. So I will not read them, I will just move it slowly. Some of them are for damage, some of them are for defense, but all of them are useful. Determine subtype verbal abuse. So you get the idea. You make this list. I will show you how you make this list, just so you can filter for them. And the search then would look like this. Just choose the one that you can afford eventually, or just go for simple full load without any other. And that's much cheaper, obviously. But how you make this list? You click this add condition group, and then you fill the condition group here. I have the full load in the list as well, so I'm checking 2+, and that's it. If you would go without the full load, you can just use it like this, and there will be like a lot of others. Like this one would be usable as well. Like you can see, there are a bunch of cheap ones if you use the same filter. So yeah, there's a lot of pedigrees that will net you some decent damage. So that's it for the passive tree. For hero memories, intelligence, energy shield, movement speed, and if you can, try to get skill area on each of them, because that will help you with clear a lot, with clear and gameplay. And that's it. That altogether should cost you under 800 FEs, and that will let you clear Profound and complete your star chart and start farming on 8.2 maps or 8.1 maps, depends on what you are farming for. Farming video will be my next one, so stay tuned for that. I thank everyone for watching, and I will see you in the next update. Bye!